I'd like to take this opportunity to look back on 2015 and what has happened, and also to look forward to 2016 and maybe give some predictions. So in relation to legislation for 2015, the big piece of legislation that affected us all in this area is the Workplace Relations Act. It was a game changer, it's a single gateway, it's massive reform of the old system. It's got some positive features. Trial by ambush will be less likely. The hearings before the adjudication officer will now be heard in private at first instance, and importantly the backlog will reduce significantly. We all experience significant delay in having the cases come to court. That should reduce significantly with the new system, at least initially, and the backlog for the old cases should also fall away pretty quickly. The second piece of legislation is the Low Pay Commission. The minimum wage has been increased to €9.15 effective 1 January. There will be incremental changes to the minimum pay on an annual basis as opposed to the sporadic significant increases that we've experienced in the past. And then finally, the whistleblowing legislation and how that's affected the way in which we operate came in July 2014, has had a chance to bed down and see how it's operating. There's been one case where an employee took an application to the Circuit Court, which is a new feature of the legislation, for interim relief, preventing her unfair dismissal. The employee, it's in the case of Philpott and Marymount University, was unsuccessful, but it does give very good guidelines as to what an employee must establish to get the interim relief necessary. I think we'll also see settling down of employee claims alleging whistleblowing as time goes on, and that's a welcomed feature. There were a number of significant cases during 2015, but I will talk about 4 of them. The first is Bank of Ireland and Riley, which is very useful guidelines from the High Court about what justifies suspension of an employee, and they are in very limited circumstances. So that's the takeaway from that case. The second is Boylan on Post, which talks about bias in a disciplinary process. Again, very useful case in setting out what the guidelines are and what you should look at in determining bias. The third case is roughly in the Board of Management of St Anne's. Very important case in relation to bullying. It overturned a High Court award, which was the highest bullying award in the state, overturned that decision and set out some really useful guidelines as to what constitutes bullying, reinforces the objective test of bullying. And the final case that I want to talk about is Nano-Nagle School and Daly, which is a consideration of reasonable accommodation and what an employer should consider when reasonably accommodating an employee, including the redistribution of duties and the like. Looking forward to 2016 and in the area of employment law, a general election is due. There are a lot of issues surrounding that general election which will affect employment law. We have issues such as the minimum wage, we have 0 hours contracts, which were highly politicised during 2015 with the Dunn Stores dispute. We'll be looking at, I think, pension levies and how they will be imposed upon employers, and of course the USC and taxation regime generally. Also during 2016, we face the Family Leave Bill. The Family Leave Bill looks to consolidate family leave in Ireland, which is a good thing. It'll also look at new initiatives such as splitting maternity benefits, splitting parental leave, perhaps paid parental leave. So again, quite a bit of noise around that area and worker-friendly policies. And then finally, the issue of litigation. I think litigation will come back in 2016 with the confidence in the economy. People are more ready to move around the labour market. They're more ready to test their benefits and to test unfair dismissal and the like. So I think we will see more litigation during 2016.